May we continue where we left off last Sunday. We were talking about the right kind of relationship. Most of our relationship is in that relationship there is a great deal of conflict, struggle, lack of understanding each other and so on. We went into it very carefully. If you do not mind, we won't go into it again today. That's where we left off last Sunday when we met here. We pointed out how important it is to have right kind of relationship. Man, woman, or with people who are far away from us. Because life is a relationship, is a movement in relationship. And apparently, we have never been able to solve the problem of not having conflict in relationship. And we went carefully into that problem. And this morning, we are to talk about two things: order and fear. What is order? That word has a great deal of significance. Order from a general to his soldiers, order, ecclesiastic order, monastic order, order in one's house, order in the garden, and so on. That word has extraordinary meaning. We have tried to establish order in society by laws, by authority, by policemen, and so on. Society, the thing in which we are caught, is created by each one of us, by our parents, past generations. And that society is in disorder, confused. That society has almost become immoral. That society is breeding wars. Enormous sums are spent on armaments. In that society there is division, conflict. There is the totalitarian society and the so-called democratic society. Whether it is the totalitarian or democratic, there is still disorder, confusion. Each individual asserting himself aggressively against others. And so there is general disorder. That disorder is created by all of us, because we live in disorder. Our house is in disorder, not the physical house, but the psychological house, which is our consciousness, is in disarray, disturbed, broken up, contradictory. If one may point out, this is not an entertainment, intellectual or otherwise. We are talking about human problems. And this, if I may again point out, this is not a lecture. A lecture being giving certain information, having a discourse on particular subject in view either to convince, to do some kind of propaganda, and so on. This is not a lecture in that sense. But together we are investigating, we are exploring into the question of order and disorder. When our minds are in disorder, can such a mind create order, bring about order? That's the first problem we have to face. Most of us in our daily life are in confusion, uncertain, contradictory, psychologically deeply wounded, psychologically having no right relationship with another, and in that relationship there's contradiction, disorder, disharmony. And so our life, probably from the moment we are born till we die, we live in disorder. One wonders if one is aware of it. We went to the question of what is aware, to be aware, to be conscious, to recognize the fact that one is in disorder. If one is at all aware of that fact, and if one is, do we escape from it, seeking a solution, or accept a pattern of order, a design of order, and therefore conform to a particular norm? Are we aware of all these psychological movements born out of disorder? And how does this disorder come about? Why, after so many millennia upon millennia, we live in psychologically in disorder, and therefore outwardly in disorder? Outwardly, our disorder is expressed in multiple forms, as nationality, division among people, religious divisions, wars, and so on. So, we're asking, is it possible to be free of this disorder, the ending of disorder, and therefore, and the very ending is order. Order is virtue. You cannot possibly discipline the mind to become orderly. Because the entity who desires order, that entity himself is the result of confusion. And therefore whatever order he creates must bring about disorder. I hope we're all serious this morning. It's not, as we pointed out over and over again, this is a serious affair. Life is becoming so terribly dangerous, uncertain. It's an actuality. And any serious person concerned with the whole problem of living must question all this. How does disorder come about? What is the root of it? When we ask a question of this kind, you're asking the question, not the speaker. You're asking the question of yourself. And trying to find out the root of this disorder. Is it desire? Is it very nature and the structure of thought itself is disorder? That is, thought itself is disorder. We're asking that question. Does disorder arise out of desire? Does disorder arise out of the very act of thinking? That is thought the source of disorder? Probably most of us have not even asked such a question. We accept and live in disorder. We say that's our conditioning, and we must accept that condition. And so we become used to disorder, accept it, and trying to modify it. But we never ask of ourselves why we live in disorder, psychologically, inwardly, within the skin, as it were. And what is the root of it? The very substance that brings about disorder. Is it desire? Desire in itself is contradictory. Wanting one thing and resisting something else. Desire for happiness and doing everything that brings about unhappiness.